What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Lue Reviews, the destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. Please save those likes for halfway through the show. It helps the algorithm. I'm gonna be one of the only YouTube creators saying, hey, save the likes for halfway through the show. Don't worry, I'll remind you when to do it. But if you haven't subbed and you haven't rang the bell, if you haven't left a comment or joined the Patreon, or like Pinzer Lou here did, she became a new member. Welcome to the only level that we have, Pinzer Lou. Appreciate the love. Truly. That is so cool. Love when we get new members. Toying with the idea of maybe getting rid of the Patreon, just because I don't do the Patreon thing where, oh, for this level, you get my phone number and you can FaceTime me anytime you want. Just don't do those, really. So, but I make that very clear in the Patreon. Like, you're not getting any extra access, any extra goodies, any early stuff. So, yeah. I was thinking of just switching it to like a Venmo, PayPal kind of thing. If you love the show, Venmo, PayPal me. And it's just way easier. Feels a little less greasy. Doesn't matter. Either way, I'm putting my hat out there for after the show. And if you want to throw a buck in the hat, throw a buck in the hat. You guys, we have a fun show to talk about. It's been a wild week. I finished Lue Elizondo's book. I crammed most of the Joe Rogan podcast. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I'm ever going to talk about Lue Elizondo ever again, unless there's some, a book release. He's on a TV show or a big podcast. I mean, I don't know if I can say that. I can't say that. He's such an intricate part of this, all of the shenanigans that goes on in this discussion, so it's going to be difficult to not talk about him. I wish I could, but yeah, in one way or the other, we are intricately linked to this discussion. But I gotta tell you, man, I am so sick of hearing Lue Elizondo. To be put through that book and then be put through a Joe Rogan interview, which was, I think, only 2 hours long. We're gonna get into some of this stuff. But that's what we'll be talking about mainly. The book, what I thought about it for the first hour, maybe touch a little bit on the Rogan stuff, and then an hour two, we'll take your calls and get your guys' opinion. We'll read the comments if you don't want to call in, but I've got the link to that in the live chat. So if you guys want to do that, do that. And for my podcast listeners out there, this is a really great incentive for you guys to listen live. We always go live 3 p.m. Pacific on Monday and Friday. Just to remind you guys of the schedule. And, yeah, I think we're pretty consistent with that. As for content creators, we're always here Monday and Friday for the most part, barring an audition or important family stuff. We're always here. So, and because, there's usually stuff to talk about, usually stuff to discuss. It's been a very interesting political season. I just think of that because RFK's clip of basically dropping out of the race. I haven't listened to the whole thing, but it looks like he's endorsed former President Trump, primarily because Kamala wouldn't take his calls, which, if you're an independent voter, I don't know how you feel about that, but it's just an interesting political season. Maybe she doesn't even need the independent vote. They're polling so well right now, which is wild. And not wild at the same time. I get it. I totally understand it. But anyway, we're not going to talk about politics. Let's get to our Lou reviews. Good old Lou reviews. Now you guys can see what I'm seeing, and that's why I said that thing. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat. Swick McLeod, UFO Soldier 1, Pinzer Lou, of course, for becoming a new member. UFO Cholo, Sparky Pilot Armad, thank you for being here. Lue Elizondo is in the house. I think you love my book, Lou. Well, we're going to get into it, Lou. Dana Shadell, thank you for being here. Well, thank you for being a member. Grace DeVars, thank you for being here. Fifi Barbora, Wise Monkey, all of you guys, thank you for being here. If I didn't say UFO Cholo, he's usually the first one in the chat, so, or she. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna assume. But thanks for being here. Oh, there you are. Lou reviews, legit reviews. I like to think so. Some people don't like my style. But I'm at the point in this discussion where I really don't give a fuck. I mean, I walked away from a lot more money than anybody else here. So, as far as I'm concerned, the restrictions have been taken off of this show 2 years ago. And with the self, and by the way, those were self-inflicted restrictions. Just trying to appease what the masses wanted to hear. It's a very tempting, alluring discussion, especially when you start making money, to get lost in and start believing, as they say, getting high on your own supply. And I think a lot of content creators in this, the perfect example of this is Patrick from Vetted. Perfect example. His arch and how he went from vetted, like, I'm going to vet your claims, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, to, I started getting really good guests, and I can't really hold their feet to the fire as much. And now, you see where your show's at. And it's easy. It's an easy formula to quickly get. If you quickly want 20,000 followers and make anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 a month, depending on how good you are with marketing yourself, you could start making that kind of money better than I was making within a year. If you got the camera, decent lighting, the space, the equipment, it doesn't have to be crazy. It really doesn't. You could go as cheap as, less than $200 to get a really decent setup using your phone. It's so alluring. I guess I'm thinking about this because before the show, kind of the reason why we started a little behind schedule, only a few minutes. I was getting, shit from a stranger, which is always the best. When you got somebody busting your chops, who's a complete stranger, who's completely anonymous online. They always claim to be your buddy, and like your stuff. And then the second you do your stuff, they have a problem with it. It's just like, oh, I thought you liked my stuff. If you don't, fucking hit the road. Seriously. And a lot of people claim that because of what happened with me and Lue Elizondo, and some people think it's justified, that why I'm upset. I think I'm justified as to why I'm upset with that, how that whole friendship soured. And people think that's the souring of that relationship immediately influenced my opinion going forward on every single case and every single thing. And again, I'm releasing UCR episodes all the time. And you go back and you watch these episodes and you will see every single case. Lazar, Betty Barney Hill, I even questioned, I had my first big guest. One of my first big guests was the son of Hynek, or not the son, but like the grandson of J. Allen Hynek. And he came on the show. It wasn't Hynek, was it? It was, man, we had so many people on the show. Might have been the grandson of the base commander from Area 51. Anyway, once we did, and this was like a History Channel thing that had reached out. A producer from History Channel had found my show. She's like, hey, would you like this guest on your show? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Send her a link to my show. Just be like, hey, I hope, here's an episode I encourage you to watch. And if they would have watched that episode, they would have seen I was very skeptical. And when he came on the show, we had a great discussion. And then I reviewed the discussion and I reviewed the TV show that they had been doing. And I kind of like bashed it like I do with everything I feel is bullshit. That was the whole idea of the show was to bring my comedic sense to this topic and kind of comedically call out the bullshit where I see it. And I think I think personally, looking back at it, I think I threaded that needle better than anyone. I was able to do Skinwalker Ranch reviews with members of the team and rate them on the scale of 1 to 10 and to their face give them 4s, 3s, 2s, sometimes 0s. And we had a great time about it. Like, we were able to make fun of each other and have fun with each other because, especially when it came to Dragon, and even Fugle, like they were able to take our criticisms and be like, okay, yeah, I get it. I understand why you're upset there's no hypothesis. Why the only repeating experiment you do is shooting fireworks into the sky, essentially. And they yield very inconclusive results. And again, because there's no hypothesis, the results are all over the place. I'm sorry, I am going off on a tangent, but I'm just like, if you've really watched this show from the beginning, I've always gotten into hot water. It's why people like UAP Mike and Sean Rash and J. Christopher King and Katie Howland and these UK guys eventually turned on me, because I would question the Calvine UFO article that Christopher Sharp wrote. I questioned that as their friend. I was like, I don't know, you guys. I think you're missing some information on this one. And this really doesn't conclusively prove shit. And that's why they didn't come to Big Phone Home 3. That's why they talked about shit about it behind the scenes. We're the show that asked Lou Elizondo about his sock puppet accounts. Like, we've always been this show. Honestly, at its core, it's always been this. But there is a difference between UCR and Lou Reviews, and that's why I called it Lou Reviews. First, I was just going to do gaming stuff. And I did for a little bit. But after 3 months away, taking a break from this stuff, and also in that last month revisiting it with new perspective, a new set of goggles, like I described when I first came back, like the glasses in They Live, the sunglasses. When Rowdy Piper puts them on in the movie, all of the filters come off. He could see everything. And now I thought I try to do, the difference between UCR and Lou reviews is in UCR days, I would always suspend or err on the side of the experiencer, because I was also one myself. So there was that attachment to, well, why would they lie? And I think in most cases they're not lying. But I think there's good explanations for what all of these people might be experiencing. And again, if you want to learn more about that, there are links to books and places where you can get help if this is happening to you in the description below. In a lot of ways, it's getting out of the cult and then standing in front of that cult with a cardboard sign telling people going in how evil the cult is. You might see it as a waste of time, but for me it's therapeutic. I like just being, again, and I repeat some of these things, and this is a phrase that I would say that I didn't like when I was doing UCR, especially when we had big guests on the show, like Sheehan, like Elizondo and his dad, like, when we had Kurjai Mungal or Jimmy Church or name them. There was very few we didn't get. We had Corbell, we had Knapp, we had Alejandro Rojas. We had them all. And every time, especially when I was doing Big Phone Home, because it was, again, trying to gather people under one tent, felt like I was walking on eggshells. I actually took down, and I regret this, I thought I didn't take it down, and I did. There was a breakdown of Bob Lazar and the documentary that I did, and the very last episode I did, I had a thumbnail and everything about basically talking about how Bob Lazar was a pimp. And if you couldn't, breaking down the court case, we went over the court case. We went over how he was involved with the brothel that he ran. Like, he set up the security, he rented the apartments, he paid out the girls, he hired the girls. He basically ran it. Like, if you wouldn't trust this guy with your kids, which I wouldn't if I had kids, wouldn't trust them with my nephews and my niece. Like, why would you trust them with any UFO story? And the only way we could get Corbell to come on the first Big Phone Home, people told me to take that video down. They're like, dude, if you're trying to get Corbell, take that video down, man. I was like, okay, I get it. I'll take it down. And I think I saved it on a hard drive, but that hard drive, of course, like almost every hard drive I've ever owned, crashes or melts down. So I might have it somewhere, but this show has always been critical of the bullshit. Always. It's just now I do it without walking on eggshells. I'm unapologetic about it. And if you enjoy that, you're here. And in some cases, you absolutely hate it, but you're still here. Because part of you, that hate watcher, I'm right. When you go into every single one of these, especially the good ones, like Colaris, like the South African school case, the aerial school sighting, like Bob Lazar. When you dig into the details of those cases, or like people like that Cortez lady who claims she's had alien hybrids taken out of her, yet hasn't shown one medical doctor or paperwork from the insurance or anything that remotely comes close to that about her medical history. When you get into, and it's not even, you don't have to dig deep on all of these things. The gimbal, the go fast, the Tic Tac footage. Like, 2 of those have been thoroughly pretty much solved, especially the go fast. And here you have Lue Elizondo on Joe Rogan and his book talking about how that hasn't been solved in his opinion. NASA did the trigonometry on it. Mick West did it before NASA. And he built I think he built a 3-dimensional model of it. It's like, you just get to say whatever you want. And if you feel like I'm talking a lot about Lou, this is his comeback party this whole week. And what's changed? I ask you guys that, especially the believers. What has changed? I mean, here he is, CBS This Morning for 4.5 minutes. Joe Rogan. We know he's going on Theories of Everything here soon. There is nothing new that he is saying. He's whipping out old documents that everybody knows about from the Black Vault and trying to publicly, I think, in my opinion, kiss his ass publicly and talk about FOIA in a glowing manner to win favor with John after calling, implying that he was a felon. There hasn't been one discussion about this topic since this book has come out and these interviews have been done. To be fair, Rogan dropped today. But you would think if this was such a paradigm shift, if this was such an awakening, if this was such a big, massive deal, why didn't they mention it at the DNC? Why isn't the president talking about it? Why has he, for what we know, only gotten 4, and I'm sure there's others, like small things that I'm missing here. Like, I think he did a live show with somebody, some podcast, I'm not sure which one, some live stream where he talks about his book. He's done Rogan, CBS This Morning for 4.5 minutes. The graffiti artist got 9 minutes, by the way, on CBS This Morning. But there needs to be somebody in the discussion who speaks against the grain. That speaks against the woo and the irrational and the unreasonable. yeah, I don't see me stopping doing this on some level for as long as I can stay around. Like, yeah, I'm not going to feel bad about being one of the few voices that exposes this nonsense. But with the perspective of having the access to the nonsense, more access than any of my critics. Name one critic that has had more access to Lue Elizondo and the UFO truth than me. Maybe Stephen Greenstreet and Jeremy McGowan. I mean, they don't have live streams, though. You know, they do it in their own little ways. You know, they didn't walk away from 40 grand, you know, of actual, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure, I don't know how. It's probably a contract to do basement office for Stephen. He probably wasn't making money off the views. That probably all went to the New York Post. You know, he probably got to pay the contract to shoot, write, and edit that entire series, which I'm pretty sure he did. I think he did everything but build the first set. And he was really close to these guys as well. You know, he lost the basement office. Like, I know for sure if he had ignored the red flags that he saw behind the scenes, like I did, if he just ignored them, and he had turned the basement office, and the New York Post is a perfect place to do this. He could have probably negotiated. I mean, the basement office would be on like season 7, and it would be huge. He'd probably be one of the first people to interview Elizondo. He would have written the foreword in his book, maybe. You know, and that could have been an easy thing for Stephen Greenstreet to do. He genuinely had the best show, I think. The best pro UFO narrative show ever created was The Basement Office. The first 2 seasons of that show were incredible. And I think he's also hit a stride with the post Basement Office work that he's done that exposes the bullshit to Skinwalker Ranch, the inconsistencies of OSAP and ATIP, and the players that were OSAP and ATIP, their inconsistencies in the entire narrative. He could be making buco bucks right now. And I'm sure the New York Post wasn't thrilled. Like, I'm sure there was folks at the New York Post like, what the hell happened to this show? What went wrong? Probably talked to Greenstreet and they're like, all right, do the other stuff. But yeah, I bet you if you watch his new breakdown of Skinwalker Ranch and stuff like that, I bet it doesn't amount to the views of the first 2 seasons of Basement Office. I'm just guessing, but I bet it doesn't. And so this narrative of, you know, he's a skeptic for the money, he's a debunker for the money. Like, yeah, he lost money making ability when he couldn't do the Basement Office anymore. You know, so yeah, I'd say he's right there with me as far as access and you know, being close to the team and being considered, you know, one of us. Like, welcome, getting texts from Lou. Welcome to the team, brother. You know, like, it's just my disappointment, my anger, my frustrations, my loss of filter when it comes to discussing the UFO phenomenon, or what I'll recall as the UFO fiction. It's UFO fiction, all of it. It's lore. It's propaganda, some of it. It's self-serving, like it's a self-licking ice cream cone, like Kirkpatrick says. And it's, yeah. It's amazing what people do for what they think is power. Fraser Johnstone, has the basement office been canceled? It's still in the New York Post YouTube channel. Yeah, it probably is, because the New York Post owns the rights to it, probably. And the New York Post knows that those first 2 seasons probably still get a lot of views. I think he did a season 3, but it wasn't the same basement office. It was in a completely different studio, completely different feel, completely different narrative, you know? So yeah, thanks for the donation, Fraser Johnson, by the way. And guys, you know, I'm kind of just spitballing here. But you know, yeah, I apologize if I'm not sort of paying attention to the chat. But like I said, second hour, we'll open up the stream and I'll be making sure I pay attention to the chat so we look at your thoughts on the book and stuff. So yeah, man, you know, I guess Lou Elizondo always sort of, anytime he comes back up or there's something that happens or he says something, you know, yeah, in a way it reopens that wound. But you know, it's like, yeah, I think I've said enough on that. Let's get on to the book, huh? So, and what's up, Breeder Syndicate? Thanks for being here, buddy. I have also downloaded the audiobook as well. Nutriton confuses Lou review saying UAP and technological non-human beings on the planet is fake. What's his stance on Dave Grush? Yeah, you're not gonna like my take on this, neural tunnel. Yes, I do believe it's fake, it's fiction, and I believe Dave Grush, just like Lue Elizondo, is a UFO believer that happens to have top secret national security clearance. And there's a few of them. And they've already taken $22 million before in the OSAP program, and now they're looking for more. They want more. And there's a whole new group of people that are lobbying Congress for those dollars to be spent in things like the UAPDA and through organizations like Americans for Safe Aerospace and the Nanu Project and the Soul Foundation and the Galileo Project. Go ahead and look at all of their boards, and you'll find there's a lot of people that are on all of these boards, and all of those people also happen to be sitting in our lawmakers' offices lobbying to put money into their organizations that they are CEOs of, CFOs of, chief advisors. What do you think pay? How much do you think those salaries pay? I mean, look at the Paradigm Institute. Danny Shin pays himself $155,000 a year to do the Paradigm Institute. Imagine if the government approved $1 billion, which is not crazy, to study the UFOs situation outside of the DoD. And by the way, the people that are going to be looking at it independently all used to be part of the fucking government. Yay! Like, and that takes, let me digress back to the book. I think the running theme of this book, Imminent, is how disgruntled Lue Elizondo and his cohorts are with government bureaucracy, and what their eyes is bureaucracy, inefficiencies, lack of decision making, in some cases ineptness, dereliction of duty. These are big claims, man. These are big statements, I guess. Big moves, bold moves to make. But there's no evidence at the end of this. None. All of these guys are upset with government, and they think they can fix it and give people the answer. Some of them genuinely believe this. Some of them are doing this nefariously. And we know this because Sean Kirkpatrick said it. They're lobbying government to fatten their own pockets, to study nonsense. And in the meantime, they're making books, movies, TV shows, comic books, television shows. I already said TV shows. That's the same thing. All sorts of media podcasts, podcast appearances. Somebody fucking copyrighted UAP for fuck's sake. And here's like, it is clear that Lou Elizondo hates how government works. He's very proud to be part of the machine. He is loyal to it. It was difficult. He was talking about in this book a guy who was using a G5 jet or plane. Is that right? A G5? Is that what they call it? One of these executive jets to fly from Maryland to Guantanamo, and like calling chefs. And he sat for one of these flights, and in his mind, he's like, this is wrong. I'm more comfortable in a jump seat in like a Warhawk. I don't know these military fucking planes and hardware, but he'd rather be in one of these uncomfortable seats in like a bare bones plane flying to Guantanamo, whatever's cheapest for the taxpayer. That's the way he wants to travel. And he is much more comfortable with the grunts, the guys who serve. He said this. He knows how wasteful government is. He left bitter because people were put in place that questioned every aspect of this nonsense because they had been aware and familiar with the OSAP program. And we're like, what the fuck is this nonsense? A-tip? No, we did this once before. Who are you working with? What do you guys have access to? No offense, guy, but stop doing this. It's a waste of time. And no, we're not going to approve it. We're not going to move it up the chain. And instead of stopping there, he made us think about it. He filed a retaliation complaint with the ICIG, along with Dave Grush, because they couldn't study the UFO stuff on their time. There's a lot of guys like this in our intelligence community, and it's scary. It's worrisome. And that's those are the things that Kirkpatrick said once he had these guys in his office and he interviewed them and he talked to them and he presented the evidence and he said, why do you believe these things? He genuinely questioned them. And then when he presented them with the evidence and he says, okay, look, you understand why this was confused for this, right? Here's the classified info, especially if they had the classification to look at the information, which some of them did at the time. And give a little bit of clarity as to what maybe they're confusing, giving them the opportunity to go, oh shit, damn, did I fuck this up that bad? You think any of them, some of them behind the scenes, took that offer, took that rationality, and were like, oh, okay, thank you for clearing that up for me. There was a lot of people who anonymously reported to Arrow, a lot of those 40 whistleblowers that had their questions pretty much answered once the department looked into it and got back to them. Some of them didn't have the answers. Some of them, they weren't privy to know, but they were assured, because you're not privy to know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, you saw something you shouldn't have, and we made it. And all of that stuff has been talked about publicly. But here we are with imminent. You know, so like, it's clear that Lou hates government waste, but at the same time, he also knows how to take advantage of it. And so do his buddies. And they're using this cover of national security and threat. That's another underlying theme in this book, is that these things are a threat. Even though they haven't interfered at all, even though they're not here, they're a threat. He, from a military mind, considers them a threat. He always prefaces it with like, I'm not saying I think this. And that might be true. Maybe I'm wrong on this one. But he's a grunt. That's his own words. He's a doer. And so, yeah, I just don't buy it. And also, what have you done for this conversation? The other underlying theme is that all of the people that he has surrounded himself with are loons, con men, or in some cases, smart people that have fallen for some really stupid shit. And that happens all the time. And I think that might be Dave Grush. At this point, I don't understand, especially, like, we're going to go through some clips here, because Mick West did an absolute evisceration of this book and highlighted all of the inconsistencies with the book. And I was going to play the whole thing. It's only like 12 minutes long, but, you know, go to Mick West's, just type in the Twitter. You'll find it. It's at the top. And there's so many just straight up either lies or just completely wrong. First thing he got wrong, that, and I think this is the point in the book where I was like, this is where I checked out. He was referencing Ernest Cline's book, Ready Player One, and he called it Ready Player Two. And I was like, fuck you. Just get the fuck out of here. You get on out of here right now. Ready Player 2. That's supposed to be the sequel that hasn't been written yet. That was rumored to be written or being worked on. He doesn't know that. So anyway, I digress. The heat signature on that he describes, totally wrong. Totally wrong. The fidelity of the clips, totally wrong. Even the quotes from the pilots were wrong. And I love, there was one part where because I listened to the audio too. I read along with the audio. I got to tell you, after listening to it and reading it, oh man, there's it's as if he wrote this book for a sixth grader to understand how the world works when it comes to UFOs and basic science. There was the only new information that we got here was a couple more nuggets about his dad, which apparently his dad had a couple of fits in restaurants where police had to be called. And I could tell you, if his dad fought for Fidel Castro, he probably was not liked by many Cubans in Miami. Most Cubans fought Castro if they stayed, either through art or through writing or through the radio. There was no fighting him in arms. And the others that didn't join his revolution fled. Some were forced, like my family was forced to leave Cuba at gunpoint. The Fidel regime confiscated their farm. If it wasn't for that, I would have been born in Cuba. In a way, it worked out. Not in a way, it definitely worked out. So to have somebody fight, I mean, I understand somebody fighting against the Baptiste regime, because the Baptiste regime was also absolutely terrible. But you knew Castro was up to no good when he started arresting political dissenters, taking everybody's guns and declaring him president forever. That's when, Luis Elizondo Sr. decided, okay, I'm out. I'm not doing that. And went to prison in Cuba for 2 years. So that, I'm sure, was absolutely traumatizing. I know because I've heard the stories from family members. If you were arrested by the Castro regime, trust me, you either died or lived the rest of your days behind those bars, being beaten, tortured, manual labor, till you died. Very few made it out. And so he got out and he fled. And the first thing he did was got recruited by the CIA. And I'm sure they gave him money. I'm sure they gave him a place to stay. I'm sure he was able to infuse himself pretty quickly. It's just interesting. I mean, those are the most interesting parts to me of the book. And I'm interested to know who Lou was bitter at for this divorce, his mother or his father. Because I could tell you, if I had a dad that was freaking out at restaurants and beating people up because they said the wrong thing to him because he was suffering from PTSD, I don't know how I'd be upset with my mom for that. But he also did mention that his mom, once the divorce did happen, he would get upset with the men who were around his mother, taking advantage of her. So I think maybe he had an issue with both sides, and that, that military life was a way for him to escape, and beating the shit out of people on South Beach was a way for him to release some of that aggression. To me, that's the stuff I'm interested in, because that really tells you who this guy is at his core. To me, the I want to know, and I'm interested to know if like a person like John Greenwald or Stephen Greenstreet or Keith Clore, which by the way just put out a really great article about the Eminent book. Go check it out. Thank you for the donation. I'll get to it in a second. Thank you so much. I forgot what I was going to say. Somebody just did a review on Imminent. Anyway, whatever I was going to say. Thanks for the donation. Railroad Bum. Is that right? Railroad Bum. Keep up the good work, my friend. Appreciate it. Thank you for the $2 donation. Thank you very much. Yeah. I forgot. I got off track there. All right, let's get to some bookmarks. I mean, I'm sure I'll think of it here in a second. Maybe. We'll see. I don't think it really matters. I think you guys get my gist here. Like, oh yeah, the most interesting things about Lou. Like, yeah, you know, his time at Guantanamo Bay. I'm curious to know if somebody out there, because he said that in public court, they named Luis Elizondo the czar of torture, and I would like to know if there's any merit to the story, because if the UK put an arrest warrant out for him at some point, there's got to be a record of that. There's got to be a record of there is, and I wonder if John could FOIA these things. I don't know how. I'm just wondering, but these discussions that he says happened with some of his superiors, according to him, his superiors were putting, he was the scapegoat for all of the torture at Camp 7 at Guantanamo Bay. The reason why that program had a hard time being closed was because of Luis Elizondo. That's what he claims his bosses said. If Luis Elizondo was that important to the Camp 7 torture process, or if he was the administrative sort of barrier to getting it closed, I'm not sure how he played a role in this, either from an administrative perspective, where the guys doing the torture want to keep the torture going, and he is the administrative guy going, well, the president says to do it, so do it. Or is it the worst case scenario where he's also in the room holding towels and pouring buckets of water? We don't know, because we don't have any specifics. But if there are lawyers calling him the czar of torture, and his superiors are blaming him for keeping that program alive for as long as it was kept, and if there are international countries issuing arrest warrants for his illegally torturing people at a top secret, neutral island, Guantanamo Bay, that isn't considered the United States, therefore doesn't have to fall under any of the normal civil laws of our country. Those are the things I found most interesting. His promotions, his commute to work, that he said was 3 hours each way. That's 6 hours a day. I mean, I'd love to talk to Manny 503, who's looked up every address he's lived at, and he has shown us on maps that he's lived in places always that were within 20 minutes of work. So there's just so many inconsistencies. on that stuff. And how did we go from never been a UFO guy, never have been, never will be, to seeing green orbs in your house, disappearing in walls, your wife, your kids, your neighbors, the whole relationship with being holding top secret clearance and secrets and not being able to tell your wife about them. But here you are writing a book, doing TV shows, all of the things you told your wife, you're telling us. This book was a book report. It was a 7th grade book report about UFOs in the most compelling non-government accessed cases. He really talks a lot about Colares in this book. And he references Colares as one of the most impressive things he saw that sort of got him believing. A public case that God knows could be a million different things, man. And honestly, I wouldn't put past one of those things being testing space weapons on random targets in South America. Because guess what? We can get away with doing shit like that around the world. And we've done it. There's a very large sample size of doing worse in other places in the world, but you got to test things. And maybe the test went wrong. Maybe they didn't mean to shoot in the Colares area. Maybe that was a mistake. There's also, like mob mentality. People describing like eyewitness testimony is garbage. It's the worst kind of evidence. It's the worst kind of information gathering. Because you can get 10 people to see one thing and get 10 different versions of what happened. That's just proven. That's fact. You need substantial data collected. And he does not reference anything government. All of the cases, all of the people, all of the scenarios, all of them are UFO lore. You can literally go through every single thing he talks about and go, yep, okay, the implant moving. Yeah. That's Roger Lear. Right? That's the podiatrist. And also, foreign objects in the body, they move sometimes when you're trying to dig them out. That happens. But the things he references in this book can all be pinned back to stuff mostly he's already talked about. There's nothing new. The pictures that he includes in the book, they're so stupid. All of this stuff is theoretical. I think my favorite part of the book is the very first, one of the very first things he reads, which is the part that the Doppler review demanded he put in, which is the Pentagon and Doppler review of this material is not an endorsement of it. It's just making sure none of this stuff is classified information. I think the thing that pissed me off, but the thing that pisses me off the most, okay, about this, and let me just pull up the photo. Give me a second, guys. The thing that pisses me off about this book title the most is it's inside the Pentagon's hunt for UFOs. I don't think once references this phenomenon as a UFO ever. I don't think in any interview, especially the Rogan interview, he says UFOs. Why are you putting it on your fucking book then? Oh, that's right. Because nobody knows what the fuck UAPs are. They know what UFOs are. But yeah, he doesn't, he's okay to use the acronym UFO when it's selling a book. When it's time to sell a book, yeah, all good. But when you open the book, that's not what he calls them. Ever. And when he talks about them publicly, he doesn't call them that. But when he's selling something, he calls them that. And it also wouldn't shock me if the publisher was like, yeah, we're not calling it the hunt for UAPs. Nobody knows what those are. But if you're going to say UAP throughout the whole book, put UAP. Maybe in parentheses next to it, UFOs. It wouldn't look as good, but it'd at least be a little more honest. Yeah, I remember this quote. Pavlova says, what the fuck was in his quote? What the fuck was with his quote about, quote, when the book comes out, wink, wink, some people will say, wow, I see what he did there. Yeah, what the fuck did he mean by that? This book was, I mean, for fuck's sake, man. We had people banging on drums for this book. Banging on drums for over a month in the name, in the excitement, in the build-up to this book's release. And here we are, 4 days later after its release, and it's dead on arrival as far as I'm concerned. This is not as attention-grabbing or as sensational or as exciting as the 2017 headline. Nowhere close. This is a fart in the wind. Imminent. The book, all of the claims. You guys think you got a lot of forward progress? You guys didn't get shit. I think you took some steps backwards, and I think the proof is in the pudding. The lack of advertisement, the lack of seriousness to it. I mean, listen, like, you seriously listen to that book and walk away going, oh my God, that was mind-blowing. You have the intelligence of a sixth grader. I want to call you something else, but this book was written for sixth graders. Okay? This book was written as a sixth grade book report. And as a sixth grade book report, A+. As a serious manifesto as to the truth of alien visitation on Earth. Ooh, what happened there? Welcome, Pavlova, to the only level. Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Although I gotta get those alerts up. Let's see what happens. Hold on a second, guys. Because anytime we do get people that donate to the show, there's supposed to be a little, like you heard, oh my. It's supposed to be like a little thing that pops up. But I think I have this layered incorrectly. So I'm going to pull up the app that lets me redisplay them. And this is it, Streamlabs. There it is. Thank you, Pavlova. And also Fraser Johnstone. So it should come up. There it is. And Fraser Johnstone. You know what's weird and that sucks? For some reason, Pinzer Lou's didn't come up. I'm sorry, Pinzer. For some reason, it's not in. You'll see here. It would come up right here. And I would just hit this refresh button. But yours isn't in here for some reason. I'm not sure why. But you have my heart and my appreciation. Okay. Where was I? Let's get to some clips, shall we? Let's get to some of my good old bookmarks. Okay, so here's one of Lou's claims that he made to Ross Coulthart. And like this guy, since this book has come out, now all of a sudden he's a UFO guy. Now all of a sudden he knows all the history. And that's another thing that pissed me off in this book, is he said he wasn't a UFO guy, but he said he went back and looked at all the history and found it so compelling and so interesting. And it was part of the stuff that convinced them that this was a reality. Maelstrom. Like, Stephen Greenstreet was right in the space that he did. Like, there are a lot of people in the circle that are pissed at him about this book because he's taking other people's stories and making a book out of it. And that's what this was. It was a sixth grade history book report of UFOs. And he took Robert Salas's story, and he took David Fravor's story, and he took, a little bit of John Lear. He took a little bit of all sorts of lore and just stuff that he heard while he was doing his podcast rounds, probably, and just borrowed it and made a book out of it, and didn't give you guys shit. He didn't give you a fucking thing. And you're over here banging drums for him and crying and shit? Fuck, you guys are weird as fuck. Don't forget to like the show. We're halfway through the show. Like the show. Also, let me get into the StreamYard and see if we have any callers. I'm going to open up the, I've got the pin link. I'm going to open up the show to calls. If you guys want to call in, you're more than welcome to. Just open the room. So if you want to pop in, you won't be on camera if you don't want to be. We just hear you. And so anyway, until somebody pops in, I'll also start looking at the chat. So you guys, if you have any questions, just put them in all caps, or send it as a super chat. That's also a great way to definitely get your question answered. Okay, so Average Chris writes about Lue Elizondo. He's officially out of his cage now, tripling down on the most outrageous claims yet. It's really just comedy at this point. Now listen to this absolute nonsense.
Actually seen what you believe may well be alien technology, an implant.
All right, let me do that one more time, guys.
Actually seen what you believe may well be alien technology, an implant.
I have.
What did you see?
I saw a technical device that had been removed, excised by the Department of Veterans Affairs by a surgeon, a trained physician from a U.S. military service member who claimed to have a UAP encounter. The physician claimed that the object tried to run on him or evade being excised.
So let me get this right. This object, whatever it is, it's a constructed object. It's a technological object.
It's a technological object enveloped in some sort of biological capsule. The current theory is that that capsule is there to fool the body as not to create some sort of immune response to a foreign object.
The physician you spoke to described that object apparently trying to intelligently avoid being captured by the human doctor.
Correct. That is what the doctor reported.
Look at. Look, did you see Ross Coulthart at the end of this? His mind is blown. Even though he's heard this before, this exact fucking story, all he did was change the location. That's it. Because I would love to see the medical records of what he's talking about. Because if it's true, why is he allowed to talk about it? What gives him the clearance to talk about somebody else's medical records? I know he's not being specific, but is he allowed to do that? Or is he just taking somebody else's story? Wonder if we can, you know, man, if I had time before the show, I would have maybe done this. Man. Let's see this one.
Powerful Medicine is brought to you by Broward Health.
No, this is not him. This is a different Lear. I'm just looking for a short clip that might have the moment where incredible alien implants. Let's see. Maybe it's in here.
UFO sighting.
Let me see if he talks about it in here. We'll do a transcript. We'll do a transcript search, like all good researchers, right? Let's see, moving implant, moving similar implants. Not moving. Let's try escaping. Evading. No. I don't know. It's somewhere out there. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time looking for it, but you know, again, this is UFO lore, just changing the location and calling, you know, and just again borrowing the story. And he talked about the story in the book.
Human doctor.
Correct. That is what the doctor reported.
You've
Complicit, thank you so much for the $2 dono. Says Elizondo is the implant. I agree with that. Pat Calabrias, Lou, don't forget News Nation tonight, 9 p.m. With your favorite reporter. Oh my God, yeah, that's got to be. Unblock my calls, Lou. They're unblocked, buddy. You can call me anytime. Yeah, dude. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it live, but we'll see. Actually, no, I've got to travel after this show, so we've got some places to be. Cold Heart is seeing money with Steve Long. Cold Heart is seeing dollars with every word from Lou's mouth. Yeah, no shit, especially at the end here. I mean, his
human doctor.
Correct. That is what the doctor reported.
Look at him. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know how many more books I'm gonna sell with that one? Holy Toledo, Lou. So guys, if you haven't seen this is absolutely epic. This is Mick West's takedown of, not takedown, but just, you know, what Lue Elizondo got very wrong about the UFO videos in his book Imminent, inside the Pentagon's hunt for UFOs. And these are just things we can actually check. Right. Yeah, that's true. These are things we can just actually check. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Ross Coulthard blocked me. Oh, that's right. He's interviewing Uri Geller tonight. Oh my God, I totally forgot. The credibility goes through the roof. All right, so here we go. This is Ross. I think this is Ross
Pentagon
Coulthard
official Lue Elizondo sitting
doing an interview with News Nation, his own.
As part of Friday night's bombshell special report. Elizondo, who says he ran
is this one? It's also this one. Yeah, I guess this is tonight. The rest of this. Oh my God, what time is that coming on? 9 p.m. Eastern. That's right when the show ends. Yeah, I can't do it. No, I'm going out of town. Anyway.
A secretive Pentagon program shares what he claims the government really knows about UFOs.
What did you see?
I saw a technical device that had been removed, excised by the department.
Oh, we already saw this clip. I bookmarked it twice. Oh my gosh. I love these 60 minute. First of all, why the fuck did you guys do this interview outside, number one? The sound is absolute shit. It doesn't look like you guys are wearing lavaliers. You're just doing this with the camera sound. What the fuck? Like, this is a genuine
encounter.
You can hear the
physician
traffic.
claimed that the object tried
It's supposed to be like news. Okay, yeah, that's right. He gives, okay. Yeah, he does go on some other diatribe over here with this lady.
Because it's a
the current theory is that capsule is there to fool the body.
And joining me this morning is News Nation special correspondent Ross Coulthart. Ross, great to see you again. I've been excited about this interview because it's a question the human race has pondered since the dawn of time.
Since the dawn of time. I'm so excited about this interview. Whoa. Tell me, Ross Coulthart. Tell me all the secrets. Well, let me tell you. That was awful. Flavortown. Love it. That's so funny. Complicit, thank you again. The device was on J Strap-on. Not J Stratton, J Strap-on. Oh, man. Funny.
Time. Are we alone? What did Lou tell you? And if we are not alone...
What did Lou tell you that he's told everybody 700,000 times? Come on, Ross. What do you got?
According to him, why isn't the American government sharing that with us?
Well, firstly, good morning. And can I say, Lou says definitively we are not alone. In quite an extraordinary interview, the former head of...
He says it. I'd like him to fucking prove it. Right? Let's prove it.
The Pentagon's UFO investigation program, he goes out the gate and charges, and he's basically saying Roswell was real. And then you've got that wonderful science fiction sounding admission that he makes that they actually pulled some kind of non-human implant out of a human being, a veteran, who was in a UAP encounter, and that this implant, in some way, Hannah, tried to evade being caught by the surgeon that was trying to remove it.
Wow! Wow! Any evidence or fucking footage of this? Nope, not a lick. Not a lick, love. No, that's not Australian. I really can't do Australian. There are moments where I can get it, but it always diverts back to English. It's very difficult for me to keep that one. It's probably the one I struggle with the most. But this guy, man.
So is there a bigger question now about finding out how these aliens feel about us on our planet and the human race?
Well, you and I think, are probably taking it more for granted than a lot of members of the American public. I mean, I take it as a given now.
I think it's not just the American public, but the rest of the world. Right?
Because of the number of people that I've spoken to in the Defense Department and the intelligence community who candidly admit that a non-human intelligence is engaging with the people of this planet. But
yeah, they can admit that, but they can't admit any facts to back it up. For some reason, that part of it's not classified. Oh, Ross, let me tell you, there are aliens visiting our planet, and they're interacting with us. We're making deals with them. Believe me, bro. It's happening.
But I think most people still want firm, solid proof, and they'd like to hear it from the president standing at a lectern in the White House, basically saying, we are not alone. I don't think we're ever going to get that. And I think ultimately what's going to come is a gradual disclosure because of people like Mr. Elizondo coming forward from within the black world and revealing what they know. And I know some of these people. I know people who work on what they purport to be a crash retrieval program of non-human technology, and they say that they're also involved not only in those retrievals but in the reverse engineering of those craft. And I think that's the reason for the secret. I think what's happening is the United States can see it can derive an enormous military advantage, strategic advantage, from hopefully being able to develop that technology, and who can blame them? But at the same time, there's a lie being promoted. The public are being told that the US government, the Defense Department, knows nothing about any kind of non-human intelligence, and that's just not true, I believe.
Ross.
Yeah, well, just put another shrimp on the barbie, eh, mate? Hey, mate? Put another shrimp on the barbie? I tried. I think if I really, really work on it, I could get it. I got a good Cockney accent, but yeah, Australian. Sometimes I could do a Kiwi, like New Zealand, but again, it slips right back in, especially once like I put like a full sentence together. By the end of it, it's definitely not Kiwi. Dude. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, we got Whitley Streber clips. Okay, so this was funny. John Estridge is the acknowledgement section of Lou. It is in the acknowledgement section of Lou Elizondo's new UFO book, though Elizondo slightly misspells his name. Estridge will apparently be in James Fox's new UFO documentary, The Program, and is supposedly one of the 40 whistleblowers backing up David Grush's claims of alien space monsters. Estridge previously worked in the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and Office of the Director of National Intelligence. In 2018, he became an advisor to the Senate Intelligence Committee, where he prepared senators like Marco Rubio, red flag, for committee hearings and provide intelligence assessments. He now works for York Space Systems. Wow. Yeah, again, like this is the guy briefing Marco Rubio, a former intelligence guy who has a belief in UFOs and is prepping him to listen to lobbying efforts and UFO stories. And I wonder if he still advises Rubio. I would bet no. And I would bet, honestly, I would bet a lot of these kinds of guys, this is from November 2020, this article. I would guess that the Department of Defense and the Pentagon have caught on to the ruse and exactly who is pushing this shit within the Senate Intelligence Committees, okay? Like this guy here, John Estridge. And I bet they have all been either removed, fired, dismissed, and or just retired under their own volition. And it's because of, I think, this kind of stuff. Yeah. I think that's why lawmakers like Rubio and Gillibrand haven't talked about this topic at all in over a year. They have not touched it. Ask yourself why. I bet the people that are sitting on those committees are finally getting advised as to who they're being advised by and who they're being, who's leading their committee meetings. To beware. Hey, by the way, The guy who's setting up these UFO meetings, he's got a heavy belief in UFOs. He's got a big belief system, Senator, so be careful. But we'll see. It's definitely interesting that this guy's being thanked in Elizondo's book. This is also something I just wanted to... Well, let me see here. Yeah, there's so many things to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about this clip from Whitley Streber and the UFO rabbit hole with Kelly Chase. Yeah, this is just another one of these podcasts that you should be very aware of to, if you find yourself in these discussions going, oh, wow, this is so interesting. Wow, this sounds so true. It's not. And you're in a UFO cult rabbit hole. You're in the cult aspect of the discussion. So just be careful. I mean, enjoy yourself. You know, sometimes it can be very fun, but just be careful. Don't get high on your own supply in there. All right. Once you start sniffing that woo, it's very difficult to get out of that rabbit hole. So literally be careful. But let's listen to what Whitley Streber says. We covered this jerk off a couple weeks ago. Again, this is the guy who wrote Communion, and he's built an entire religion around his books. He's almost like a L. Ron Hubbard a little bit. He hasn't built a religion around it, but there are a lot of religious aspects to his story, and if you question it, he gets upset and doesn't like it very much. It only does shows like the UFO rabbit hole.
And those who don't know, I've had this implant put in my head in my ear in 1989. An attempt to remove it in 1994, which is available on videotape on my website, failed because it ran down.
Let's see that. Sorry, just, did we? No, this is just the full interview. Of course, it doesn't have the video. Ugh, don't want to show that. On Whitley, let's see Whitley Streber's website. Let's see if we can find this video. Because I want to see one of these fucking implants move. Let's see. Where's your website, you old grifter, you? You old grifter, you. Let's see here. Where's the website? Where's the website there, Whitley? Unknown country. Unknowncountry.com. Let's see here. Where are the videos? Where are your videos, you son of a... Jesus. Why is it always these fucking UFO websites always have the shittiest websites, man? They always look like they're from fucking like a 1990s Netscape. Let's see, implant video. Right? That's what it should be called, right? A remote viewing team looks at Whitley's implant. A wow of a show. Okay. That's not it being trying to be removed. Dr. Jeffrey Cripple, the experience of being Whitley Streber. You'd figure this would be the first thing that pops up. So he lied. He doesn't have a video of fucking an implant moving in his, in a surgical procedure on the top of his ear. He said it went from the top of his ear to his earlobe. Let's see. I wonder if he charges to view these fucking videos. Let's see. Oh, watch free version here on YouTube. Oh, lucky us. Lucky us. You know what? Let's just go to his YouTube channel. Let's see if it's on there.
I'm Whitley Streber. This is my YouTube channel. every week on this channel, there'll be a new edition of my podcast, Dreamland.
Go on.
Dreamland's been podcasting since 1999.
Wow.
And from time to time, we'll also put up vintage podcasts. It's an interesting show. There's a lot of weird stuff on it, a lot of very serious stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of credible stuff, and a lot of stuff that you're going to have to really wonder about. And that's good. I'm also the author of many books, including Communion. There have been a lot of movies made of my stuff. Communion,
a lot of movies.
Superstorm, The Wolfen, The Hunger, some TV series, Alien Hunter. There's a lot of stuff, and you'll be learning more.
Wait, did he put a Day After Tomorrow poster here? Global Superstorm? Was that... Okay, interesting. Damn.
Hunter, there's a lot of stuff, and you'll be learning more every week on Dreamland. My website is unknowncountry.com. If you want to comment on these videos and these podcasts, you can do it on the website. You can also subscribe to the website. I'd love you if you did that, because we need everybody we can get, and it's well worth doing. Dreamland.
Yeah.
It's the edge of the world.
Okay. Yeah. It's the edge of the world. Oh, there it is. Whitley's implant removal. Okay, here we go, guys. We got it.
Hi, this is Whitley Streber. What you're going to see today is 2.5 or 3 minutes of a video that was taken of the attempt to remove an implant from my left ear. I remember and have described in my book Confirmation exactly what happened as this thing was placed in my ear by some human beings, some people, in the middle of the night at my old cabin in upstate New York. Been very disturbed by it, and the doctor attempted to remove it with some quite surprising results, which you will see.
Very good. Okay. Let me go ahead and just make an incision around that area. Just feel it again.
Is there going to be a lot of blood?
No.
So they're squeezing the shit out of it right now, by the way.
He's picking at his shirt.
Right, not because he's...
No, it's not.
Feeling around for it.
A lot of blood. Oh, no.
Okay, we'll also say, just real quick, let's just go ahead and put this here as well. I know we're commenting over this, but knowing the person. Fair use. This is transformative work. We're educating and critiquing the videos that we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. Again, this is on the Whitley Streber website if you guys want to go check this out. I will also include a link to this video in the live chat. So if you guys if you're watching right now, if you're watching on repeat, you'll see this link pop up through the chat. So go watch this yourself, and yeah, get kicks out of it, because we're about to.
You can leave those
Also, by the way, just for the podcast audience, this is such low quality. This is so bad. We can't see that there's an implant in this. We can't. There's no X-rays. There's nothing that we're getting with this. Maybe there is more to it than I'm being unfair here, but all we're getting is a low quality 90s video, or not even 90s. This was filmed in 1989. It's on like a tripod. It's not moving at all. We're being told there's an implant in his ear, but honestly, it's really, you can't tell from this video.
Such an extraordinary challenge on both of your professions.
Actually, we get a lot of letters from nurses.
Nurses,
And
really?
I don't know if it's that they've got time on their hands with a night shift or what.
Nurses have a lot of close encounters. It's
Really?
interesting, yeah.
I mean, I get more letters.
Okay, so I will say right now, this doctor's not looking at this under any sort of magnification. He's doing a procedure. All he's got is a snake light attachment, and he's using just his eyes to try and get a good grip and look at what's going on here. So I just want to point that out. Okay, so when this thing moves or whatever happens, whatever's about to happen here in the next 2 minutes, basically. Let's, just keep that in mind.
Proportionately, I just get many more letters from nurses. And I keep meeting people who running these conferences and all who used to be nurses. I mean,
oh, great.
It's so funny.
But come on over here.
Yeah.
Why don't you see something?
Let's see it with glasses and everything. Let's see.
I hope I'll be able to see this on the video. I'm fascinated.
All right. Okay.
Well, show me that.
Ooh, look at that white thing.
But see, this will last.
But then it goes, I guess it went under.
But that's the hard part, I think.
But it disappeared again.
Exactly.
It's actually moving now.
Well, he's poking it, but it went under.
It's on the run.
Well, it kind of is, because I could see it just bright as day, and now it's, I don't see it. Yeah.
See, this isn't uncommon, by the way. Be sure to let the camera see this.
I don't know if you can see it. Let's see.
I'll take a look and be sure.
Let's see if I can see it.
Because one of
It's
the...
like a little tiny white disc, but it doesn't look odd. I mean, it doesn't look like...
Well, they never do, but the
So
thing
there
is...
you go. It doesn't look odd. It doesn't look anything like they haven't seen before.
Roger had such a time with one or two of them, that took him like an hour to catch them, because they would do this. They would move
What's
away
that?
from him.
It's gonna end up with a... Hold on. I'm gonna suture him. Just a minute.
Like, he's already telling them, like, he's awake. He's telling them, oh, for sure, no, this thing moves all the time. I already had somebody do this, and it moved. Like, he's telling them, he's giving them, he's setting the expectation for them that this thing is definitely moving. And maybe it is, but they're also squeezing on it. They're tweezing it. Like, have you ever had, like, an ingrown hair, and you're like, it's opened up and you see it, like, sometimes it feels like it's moving. You can try to tweeze it out. It's difficult. So I'm sure the same things, and I think Mick West even posted something about this. Like, yeah, when there's a foreign object in the body and you're using instruments to try and get it out, the process of it sometimes digs it deeper and it slips and it'll go even deeper. It's not, it doesn't mean it's an alien implant.
Are you good at closing it up now?
No, John's being a little persistent here. There is something there.
That's it. I mean, I got a little piece.
Here's some more on here.
That's it. I'm not gonna do any more. Okay, give me the.
After the doctor closed the wound, we had the fragments of the implant that he had extracted, tested in a laboratory, and the tests were not determinable. We did not understand or find out what it was because there were insufficient number of fragments. I elected to leave the object in my ear, where it remains to this day, because given the fact that it could move on its own the way it did, I thought that maybe we were beyond our knowledge and abilities in attempting to take it out.
Cool. Thanks for not showing us, by the way. Like, that's not evidence, man. Like, none of the doctors were like, oh my God, whoa, like nobody screamed. Like, that was nothing. That was nothing. It's always overhyped. And I love this. This is amazing. QL, first time I've seen him in the chat, writes, Lou was right about why Skinwalker soap, as in soap opera, I'm thinking, doesn't dig any deeper on their property because of the mineral rights. Go figure, Lou. Yeah, I'm right on a lot of this shit, guys. I'm right on a lot of this stuff. And I wish there was somebody there who could keep up with me and just put these things on screen as I talk about them. And that's what I've been doing with my edits a little bit. Because I know a lot more about this history and about this lore than people realize. I was a fan of the topic too. But now I'm no longer. Now I just, again, it's not like 3 years ago, this book release would have been so fun. It would have been so fun. We would have had 7, 8, 10,000 people in my stream if we were covering this book in a positive way, in a fake way. I mean, we're making so much money this week. I would have been banging drums too. I would have been doing a show about it for the whole month. I would have been talking about this book. because it would have been, it's good rev. It's good revenue. But not when you talk about it like this. Not as much rev. You know? Anyway, love that comment. Love that comment. All right, let's go back to our bookmarks. All right, let's listen to. Okay, so American Alchemist, good old. God, what's this guy's name again? Jesse Michaels. Good old Jesse Michaels has a sit-down interview with Danny Sheehan, and there's two clips here that I found interesting. And I will also preface this with, even Eric Weinstein has said that Jesse Michaels is damaged in the head when it comes to UFOs. He's got a very strong belief system, so strong, as a matter of fact, that I'm pretty sure he's invested money in this discussion. So it wouldn't shock me if he's bought something from this guy. But let's listen to this.
Absolutely, totally credible witnesses that I could put in front of any American jury, and the jury would be absolutely clear that they were telling them the truth, who have had direct face-to-face contact with one or more of these extraterrestrial beings. You know, they have them in American underground military bases.
They have the beings.
They have the beings.
What? So
they've interviewed the beings. I've talked to people who were there when they were interviewed.
God damn. I hate when I do that.
Who are very totally distrust that, but
particular one was interviewed the beings. I've talked to people who were there when they were interviewing the beings.
Where are the beings being held?
That particular one was at S4.
In Area 50.
S4. Listen to what Jesse says.
Do you want?
Outside of Area 50, about 11 miles away.
I would totally distrust that, but I have some good friends who are very trustworthy. So they're a couple.
So trust me, bro. I've got some good friends who are a couple. Listen to the rest of this. This is the way these stories always fucking go, dude. Every time. And you get tech bros who love shit like this. They love having private get-togethers with Dave Grush in New York City penthouses talking about fucking bullshit that they think they're getting the exclusive scoop on, when in reality they're just being scooped a whole fucking heap of bullshit. And they think they're on the inside. And they get stories like, listen to this story. This is the way it always goes down, you guys.
Very trustworthy. So they're a couple. And the husband broke the world record for the biggest wave ever surfed in Nazaré, Portugal. His name's Garrett McNamara, and her name's Nicole. And they're very good people, and they would never lie.
Yeah.
And they have a friend who worked at Area 51, or might be.
I'm sure they're not lying. I'm sure they're great people. But now the story goes, I've got friends who are great people that are very honest and trustworthy, who told me a story that they were told by
friend of a friend, but they met him. And
a friend of a friend, but they met him. And
he was totally traumatized, and after having worked there.
Yes.
And he said that he was led down into a basement.
That's right.
And he saw.
And Danny Sheehan's like, yep, true. Totally true.
Reptilian creatures, and they were speaking English.
Well, they're telepathic. They're telepathic, and they talk.
Yeah.
Trust me, bro, it's true. Trust me. The McNamaras, they're good people. The guy that they met, the friend of a friend, they really knew him. That story is totally legit. This is a great question, Gorham. And he asked with a $2 super chat, thank you for the donation. Thank you for the question. Do you think Lou is grifting or gullible? Great question. I think it's a little both. I think it was maybe gullibility at first, And like I said, at some point, like, you hit a wall with the science, you hit a wall with the claims, you hit a wall. Everybody hits a wall with this stuff where there's just no facts, there's no evidence. That's the wall. And I always say you've got two paths to go. You can either fucking go the path of where the evidence leads you, which is, this isn't going down the way I thought it was, or you could go down the path of the woo, where your belief is required to know the knowledge that you're about to have access to. Your belief is the first thing you got to pay with. Those are the paths. And I do believe that some people who take that belief path know exactly what they're doing. And some do it out of a genuine belief. Again, read the book and listen to the book. Listen to how disgruntled and upset and frustrated Elizondo is with government as a whole. And the fact that he was forced to retire early from a position that he was just trying to save the planet, man. He's just trying to warn the planet of the alien presence. Or he just got sick of it. He also expressed frustrations with early in his career, and the reason why he joined the military is because he couldn't pay his bills. And you've got, articles in newspapers with him trying to build, innovative shipping, solutions to shipping routes and big, ships, container ships. And that failed. I think he's tried to do these money-making things, and he's worked in the government begrudgingly because it's a good paycheck. And I'm sure at some points it's an interesting job too. But he's frustrated with the bureaucracy. And so he's gonna use that bureaucracy in his favor. So that's why I say it's both. I think he knows exactly what he's doing in some cases. I don't trust him. If I had to put my money on a casino, I know you want to answer this question. If I had to put my money in the UFO casino, I'd say he's grifting. He knows exactly what he's doing. Because if you really are honest with yourself and you go to listen to the interviews he's done in the past versus the things he's saying today that are all unverifiable and that all can be traced back to stories like we just listened to with Whitley Streber, there's nothing here, man. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Talk French to French people, they talk German to German people.
And they're just lobbying the government to fatten their wallets, just like Kirkpatrick said. And those are the questions I have about if I ever got an interview with Kirkpatrick. Those are the questions I want answers to. Is what is the DOD doing to prevent these guys from lobbying lawmakers for tax dollars to spend studying nonsense, all so they could just fatten their paychecks, their pensions, basically. And we've been saying this for 2 years. We've been this theory, and every year it gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger because it makes the most sense. It's Occam's razor. A bunch of disgruntled guys who've taken advantage of the government before in the past with OSAP want to do it again, and this time they want $1 billion. They don't want 22 million, they want $1 billion. They want $1 billion to study this shit. And even if they get half of that, that's still a pretty cushiony pension. Because you could bet your ass if this dickhead is making $150,000 a year off the Paradigm Institute, you could bet your ass there's more money to be made out there.
Pathic. And they talk French to French people. They talk German to German people. But
now they're talking about fucking reptilians who speak any language they want telepathically. Complicit with a $2 donation. Thank you so much, sir. Says they all got blasted by McWest. I agree. They all got McWested. I agree. They all got micked.
They're telepathic.
But isn't that weird? That's strange, though, right?
Strange, yes.
Strange
yes,
and
no
stupid.
So, but then, like,
and unbelievable and irrational and fucking sixth grade. Again, there's another word I want to use there because it genuinely fits the thought process here. Like, it's, you know, and here's the thing too. Couple of these things, a lot more of these things were shared by this guy. You know, and this guy's got this conspiracy theory that, you know, this is they're doing this disinformation campaign for a really I'm confused as to the reasons. Is it to hide the truth or is it to expose the truth? But the idea that, you know, this guy shares and clips these guys, you know, and quotes them and then asks questions, you know, like, did you know that Scientology had Zeti Reticuli, Betty and Barney Hill and Lazar in their religious doctrine? Like, as if that being in Scientology's religious doctrine is somehow confirming that these jerks are telling the truth or vice versa. Or that this is true on any sort of fucking level. They're talking about reptilians. Like, this shit, like, all of this stuff goes back to, like, Nazi one race theory, pale, tall whites versus reptilian shit. This is where all of this discussion fucking leads to. But Jesse Michaels, oh, he's fucking hooked, dude. Hook, line, and sinker. This is all so interesting. Listen to him. Listen to how fucking mentally deficient he is on this Danny Sheehan clip.
I mean, the Church of Scientology, you're not aware of it, that their highest principle in the Church of Scientology is all to do with UFOs.
Really?
Yeah. They believe that there is a major confrontation going on between the human-like people from the Pleiades over and against the reptilians from Zeta Reticuli, and that there's a major confrontation going on over which of them is going to actually assert major relations with our planet.
Do you agree with that worldview?
No, I don't.
But Swan was like fully in with the Scientologists.
Oh, yeah.
Was giving
He
them
too.
information on the Office of Naval Intelligence.
All of it. This was the stuff. I mean,
he believes it. It feels like he believes it. I mean, he's so into this, dude. There's got to be some truth to this reptilian thing, man. I believe it. The McNamaras, they talked to a guy who knew it was a friend of a friend, man. These reptilians have got to be real. I mean, Danny Sheehan just told me they're real. And they telepathically communicate any language they want. But yet, nobody sees them. They live underground in military bases only. Again, like, I've just got so many logistical questions. Like, do the reptilians pay taxes? Or because they have to stay underground, we cover all of those things for them? How do they eat? Reptilians, usually reptiles, cold-blooded animals, usually need to be in the fucking sun. I don't know, are they cold-blooded or are they warm-blooded reptiles? So many fucking logistical questions to the stupidity that you guys throw back. And now imagine, these conversations are happening at the most top-secret levels within the intelligence community between other idiots. And they're making intelligence community decisions. They're making recommendations on who senators should talk to. They're filing retaliation complaints because their bosses won't let them study aliens. It's fucking dumb. It's so dumb. That's our show. Like, I don't even want to talk about anything else. This is so stupid. And also, we're out of time. We've done a 2-hour show. The entire thing has been an absolute mess. This whole book release, Like there's the interview with Rogan. It's been a mess. Just an absolute mess, you guys. There's nothing interesting. There's nothing important. The world hasn't changed. There's been no paradigm shift. There's been no facts. There's been no evidence. There's been no truth revealed at all. It's the same rehashed stories, this time just stolen from other people with changed locations, and it's now a book. Congratulations, ufology. This is disclosure. Congratulations. You guys haven't changed a fucking thing. And honestly, to you idiots that are mailing this book to lawmakers, holy fuck, you better rethink that. Because I think most lawmakers, first of all, no lawmaker's going to read it. They're probably going to toss it in the garbage. It's going to go to a staffer. A staffer's going to get, I don't know, 2 chapters maybe into it and go, this is bullshit, and chuck it out the door. Because it is really bottom level bullshit. It is a book written for 6th graders, for mentally vulnerable adults. That's who this book is written for. If you're excited about this book, if you're buying copies of this book for other people, if you're sending them to Congress, if you're banging drums, if you're harassing people, you're an idiot. And you deserve the disclosure you don't have. So enjoy it, wallow in it, bathe in it. You guys have earned it. Listen, this is the last thing I'll actually talk about. Well, this will be our like moment of zen to end the week, but this, what I want to just real quick, just if this was the absolute banger of a story that was going to change the world and Lue Elizondo was a genuine whistleblower, this conversation with Joe Rogan would be a fuck lot longer than 2 hours and 15 minutes. And the most interesting, most compelling evidence that he puts on the table in this discussion is from another country. Think about that. This is a whistleblower to you guys. Complicit, thank you again for the dono. Brother, did you already play some of Mick West's newest? No, I didn't play any of it. We just didn't get to it. But what I will do is, since I didn't get to it, I will include it in the link to it, rather. Where is it? Where did I mark it? Or did I bookmark it? No, you know what? I think I just tweeted it. I think I bookmarked it. And I've been seeing a lot of cool clips about Greg Maddox. Dude was an absolute professor, as they call them. So smart. What a smart pitcher. Where is this? So many cosmic Judas. Oh, Bob, this is the best meme ever. Imminent. Wait, it's all rehashed stories? Always has been. 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 That wonderful meme with the astronaut and the gun, and each always has been is a different supposed big moment in the conversation. Oh my god, so funny. The hell is it, Mick? I'll just look up. I know I tweeted it out, but sometimes I just have a hard time finding shit I tweet. There it is. Wait, share it. Copy link. There you go, guys. That's for everyone in the chat. Go check out Mick West's breakdown of the book. Anyway, you guys, have a killer weekend. Before you get out of here, if you haven't already, Don't forget to smash that like, share, subscribe button. Ring the bell. That way you're notified anytime the show goes live. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Peace out.